Hi, it's Justin, and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Hi guys, just to let you know, we've got a brand new website, drcharlieward.com, where all our videos will be loaded over the next few weeks, and you'll be able to view all of those there's no charge for watching any of those. We've moved them all onto our own platform because all the doctor ones, which are very, very important, have been taken down, so we've now got control over those, but every single video we post will be free to watch. That's very important for you to know. The other thing is we're getting an awful lot of people asking us about gold and silver. And I've always been an advocate of gold and silver. And myself, I'm not in a position to give financial advice. I'm not qualified to do so. I'm just going to tell you what I've personally done. I've personally bought gold and silver, and I've used a company that I trust, which is shown below here. They've always looked after me well. And if you order from them more than £250 worth, you get a free 1 ounce silver coin, which is very, very nice. It's a nice little gift. But this is not an endorsement. This is just what I have done personally, and it's up to you. It's your choice. As I said, I'm not qualified to give the advice or financial advice, but it's just what I have done personally. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy watching all of my videos. Thank you.
Sure. Well, good news. Assange isn't getting extradited. How this is still going on, I have no idea.
This is very interesting how it's playing out, because I think you and I knew that Trump would pardon him without question. Mm-hmm. And that's always been, very obvious to those who know.
Right.
He's been in prison in the United Kingdom for a while, but I would imagine, because I know what goes on behind the scenes, that he's had a pretty nice life there. They've looked after him well. I would think the Americans would have said, look,
right,
to keep your own reputation looking reasonable, you can do this, but make sure you look after him. And I think he'll be given freedom of passage of his own choice. And I would imagine the American ambassador in London, will meet with him and inform him of Trump's decision.
Right. Yeah, I never believed the stories that they were putting out about him. He's too valuable. Yeah. And from the very beginning on the board, he was always the source. We know that he, is got the information from Seth Rich, which connects to the Seth Rich murder. It's just amazing how long our DOJ has gotten away with their crimes, this being a big one. So as I've said about everything, everyone hates Trump because they don't want to go to prison for their own crimes. Yet they spew it in a way that makes it about Trump when it's never been about Trump.
No, and this is why they're coming out with the ridiculous narratives that they are, and even so with the mainstream media, because they're all on board. And
it's disgusting. Our mainstream media, they're not going to get away without prosecution. No. They always said that they were knowingly lying, but how many of them, as we know already, were on the CCP payroll?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't put together that the CCP, like we do, and the UN and the One World Order are all one. They're all in it together against the rest of the world. But it's falling apart quick.
Yeah, and it's the question is whether the editors of the newspaper and the journalists and the people out there have committed treason or crimes against humanity.
Right, exactly.
They fall into both categories on many levels. Yeah. And that's why they're absolutely desperate. And that's why the Washington Post and CNN made a public statement, I think, over the weekend, saying they don't understand why Trump doesn't just stop and let Biden take over.
Right.
They don't understand it. Well, of course they don't, because they know that they've got to throw everything at him now.
Right.
To stop, to distract, because they know that Trump is going back in. There's no question about that. The question will be how long it will take to take everybody down.
Right.
my gut feeling is that on Wednesday there'll be some pretty big bombs.
Me too. And last night the Atlanta airport was packed with soldiers going everywhere. And that's a good sign, because that means it's coming. Also, I mean, Ellen Wood is dropping bombs. Now, you and I have known about a lot of this stuff for a long time, but the real world, besides us and the people within our group, have no idea. I mean, so he's dropping stuff. It's horrible, I can't even believe it, but good. I mean, finally, but it looks like it might have been planned, because when I was looking back, when he started dropping, I was looking back at some of the drops, and there's a couple where there's an extra L in military, Lynn, L. So I think he's placed strategically the whole time. Also, clearly he's close with General Flynn.
Yeah.
So, probably better for it to be somebody like that, like letting people know about Isaac Cappy and about Epstein Island, because he said every person that went to that island needs to be questioned. And, and we've been saying it for 3.5 years, but maybe this is just the way they had to do it.
Yeah. The other thing that I was thinking about the other day was from a practical point of view. Of course, all the dirty little bastards that went there, that's fine. Of course, we know that with Ghislaine Maxwell, she's turned into, a big mouth. She's been telling them everything.
Sure. Right.
She screamed like a baby. Right. But what a lot of people forget is I've worked in the world of private jets now for a number of years.
Right.
And there's no better source of information than a captain and a first officer.
Right.
And they've got nothing to lose or nothing to gain by providing the flight logs. And it's not hard to get, because when you've got a flight log, it's not just with them, it's registered in Brussels as well. Every flight in the world is registered in Brussels and who's on that flight. So it's not hard to get.
No, and we've only seen a little snippet of them. We haven't seen, more of them. Plus, a lot of people went to Epstein Island on boats and yachts. Yeah. And a lot of people flew into, on their own planes.
And submarines.
Right. And exactly. And we still have Wheels Up that hasn't come back on the scene, who apparently was a big transporter of people down to that island. So that's a big
Well, I know one person that's been to Epstein Island in a submarine, and they came up into a round turret where the initiation was the sacrifice of a child, and they promptly turned around and left.
Right.
Because they didn't want to go through that initiation.
Right.
And I think they regarded themselves as incredibly lucky to have left.
Oh,
it's very much Freemasons. It's all linked in together.
Right.
And even if you look at the color coding of the buildings, they're all the same pattern in the blue and white stripes.
Right, as that one in Syria. That is one of the original. And it's just hard, I think, for average people to understand the level of control that this kind of cult has, and how they've infiltrated so much of the world that it's been hidden. But it really hasn't been hidden. Mm-hmm. It's just we have a media that's terrible and corrupt, and now is the time. It's so funny, because all these years I thought, when they talked about on the board, it wasn't another 4-year election, I always thought they meant the last one. But now I realize, no, they were going backwards. They mean this one, because this wasn't an election. Biden is a criminal and a traitor and quite possibly a pedophile. Yeah. So when they picked him, you and I were like, this has to be part of the game. This has to be a joke. Yeah. And apparently it is, because
and we've been told for many months now that the battle's been won and this is the pantomime,
right?
And we're seeing it play out in glorious Technicolor, with Ellen Wood providing excellent commentary.
Right. It's interesting though. What's happening too is we're seeing who the heroes are and who the traitors are up close ourselves. You have to show the people. Look, there's still going to be maybe 8-9% of the people that will always say Trump stole it or whatever. But I mean, you have to be willfully ignorant or just filled with some kind of delusional hate not look at the bigger picture, to make it about one man.
Oh, exactly. And what it's a desperate plea, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's
Well, they're
nothing more.
backed against the corner. Still, listen, we're never going to know. I mean, maybe we will, but it looks like also what that bombing on Christmas that they're trying to cover up and say it was like the truth is that it seems that was intercepted. That was supposed to be far worse.
Yes.
Because nobody's talked about this firefight.
Yeah.
You know, the FBI acts like, oh, it was a lone bomber. Well, there was a firefight before that.
Yes.
And it's very clear something came from the sky. So, I think that was their last stand. Now, I'm going on the 6th. I'm meeting our pal Ann down in DC. And that's going to be, this whole week's going to be bombshell after bombshell. But, I figure by Wednesday, there has to be some progress in the terms of keeping us safe there. Because that Muriel Bowser, who incidentally, if people don't know, is married to Donna Brazil. And Donna Brazil was the first person somehow at the hospital when Seth Rich was murdered. So, all these people are part of this disgusting deep state thing. And she's trying to close down the indoor dining, not for COVID, but because the Trump supporters are coming. And if you've noticed, I know, what a lunatic. And if you've noticed, the election was stolen from the Trump supporters. There's been no violence.
Yeah.
There's been no burning down of cities.
Yeah.
What if it was the other way around? It would have been completely a total nightmare, riots. So I don't know. I also,
it would be very, very sick if she only left the pizza restaurants open.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. I'm assuming Comet Pizza has a back door.
Exactly.
Let's not get confused. They're not giving up that for a night.
Oh dear. And
my God.
It feels like Christmas again this week because I'm talking to you again on Wednesday, aren't I?
Yes. It's so fun. Maybe even Friday with that AI
That's
guy.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm telling you right now that we are about to witness the total biblical situation we've always thought was coming. But I'll tell you, between Sidney Powell, Ellen Wood, General Flynn, a bunch of people that you've had on there, it's these good guys that weren't known, that came out of the woodwork, but clearly have been in on this the whole time.
Yeah.
So all these people calling Ellen Wood a lunatic, it's like, what?
Of course you do.
And people say, you never heard of him until recently. What do you mean? He's the one that got Richard Jewell off, that they set up and tried to frame for the bombing in Atlanta. This guy's been doing this a long, long time. For Nick Sandman, he worked for the Ramsey family. Like, he's been trying to fight the FBI and all them for a long time. Plus, now Trump is cutting off all the funding and military help to the Black Ops CIA.
Yeah.
You know, that he's gotten through this without an attempt on his life, even though that him leaving Mar-a-Lago the other day unexpectedly might have been a safety precaution. I'm not sure.
Well, I made it right at the very start of my journey. I pointed out to people who were unaware that Trump decided in his wisdom not to use the FBI or the CIA as his personal security right from day one, 4 years ago.
Right.
He used his own security people. And in fact, he had a big fight with them because he wanted to use his own plane.
Right, I know. Right. But then he had the Air Force One completely redone. So he pulled out all their stuff. Yeah. But because they were spying. But also, don't forget, Admiral Rogers hasn't been on the scene, and he's the one that went right in there and said, "Get out of Trump Tower. You're being what they wired the place."
Yeah.
And he moved to Bedminster. So from Trump, from the very beginning, was aware. I always say he's never said. They all call him a liar, and I'm like, everything he said has come to pass. Mm-hmm. What does he have to lie about? The best lie he's done is not telling anyone what he knows. Exactly. It's a mission.
Yeah, exactly right. No, exactly right. He's done an amazing job. And he just seems to be so with it right now and so connected right now. There doesn't seem to be an ounce of stress in his body, considering the immense amount of pressure he's under from the mainstream media and from the corrupt governments around him. But
The
I
only thing
suppose
I can see is that he's not under pressure.
he's not, is he?
No,
Because it's all done. This is the
right,
pantomime.
right. And we're going to see this week. I know you have thoughts on Mike Pence, and we've both seen the email chain that came out with the WikiLeaks, where Mike Pence was clearly involved in a coup in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And he got one of those letters at the funeral. And there are ties to him that suggest that maybe he knew about the trafficking and all of that. But, people are still, it's just the mainstream media narrative is so upside down. They're all acting like Pence will save us. Well, no, I don't count on any of them. Also, they put Nancy Pelosi back in yesterday, which is just the ultimate sign that, nobody's running on their own integrity or their own merits. Everyone's probably blackmailed or, otherwise compromised. Plus, the CCP money started coming out, that all the networks took money from the CCP. Then you find like all these governors that locked us down, money from the CCP, and then the CCP we know is really the New World Order disguised as China. Yeah. And, so here we are. And this week, people are really going to have to put it together and open their eyes themselves. People asking for proof. There's proof.
Exactly.
There's plenty of proof. So if you want to look at it, it's there. I found it. You found it. We know that there's proof. But, now I wonder how the mainstream media is going to spin this stuff. It's going to be Ellen Woods crazy this week, I'm assuming.
What was this? Because I heard that Pence stood down on Saturday.
Right. So did I. It hasn't been confirmed, but I don't think it will be confirmed. I think whatever we're going to find out, it's going to be on the 6th in a bombshell. He'll probably have a video presentation and all that. Now, they tried to snag him on a phone call, and the disgusting Washington Post edited it to make it look like Trump was asking them to find votes, which isn't what happened. We listened to the entire call. I thought Trump was being very, very reserved and polite, and these people are obviously criminals in Georgia. But again, none of the elections were valid because I believe all these people work for the corporation
That's correct.
of the United States of America, which is no more.
Correct. It's totally correct.
So, Trump's probably, there's going to be another election, as we both know. We think we counted 180 days from a while ago.
Yeah.
But, in that election, I'm assuming it'll be just him.
Yeah, there's not. Well, my feelings were, as I was saying, I was talking to Q this morning,
right?
And he was not prepared to put timelines on it.
Good.
But it was very, very interesting, the directions that he was seeing the way that we were going.
Right.
And it was really, really nice because he said that they've been following me.
Yay.
And what I was saying, and they commended what I was doing. Good.
Because the truth is, through thick and thin, look, a lot of people have come out to attack you and a lot of other people, but you especially. But there was a lot of envy and jealousy involved. When people talk to me about you, there's another level to it where you really are like a compassionate, empathetic human at the same time as interested in getting the truth out and research and all of that. And it's just a perfect mesh for what's needed right now. Because we're not talking about, we're talking about delicate subjects, but also having an open mind. And, the attacks are ridiculous because, well, we'll see. This is all going to pop back. I think every time that you put up a channel or, whatever, and then they try to take you down. At this point, I think it's the white hats more than it's anything else. I don't think, look, those people at YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, they're all major, major criminals.
Yeah.
To such a level that even in the last testimony where they were briefing the Senate, I was sitting there laughing, being like, this is such a show. It's so fake. But, some are holding their ground. It's really now going to be the sheeple that refuse to believe the truth that are the problem. But, like I said, when I saw...
I don't think there's that many. I think
I don't either.
I think it's mainstream media, Hollywood, Anybody that's
Mm-hmm.
threatened by it, anybody that's done what's wrong, of course they're going to
Right.
shout and scream. You know, I often look at the amount of voice
Right.
transgender people get, and they represent a fraction of the percentage of the world, and yet they got a very big
I know, I
mouth.
say it all the time. Yeah, it's bizarre, but you know why? It's because it's that deep state Lucis trust agenda. That's part of it. That's in it, and it was written when, you know, in the 1930s, and it in there is making being gay, LGBT, and all that, you know, the mainstream norm, to confuse everything having to do with the family and God and all of that, you know, and the transgender is such a small percentage, but, you know, corporate media, again, is corporate America. And they've all jumped on this bandwagon again with Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ, and kind of turned it against the white people. And it's still like America is still 60% white. So it's such an attack on their consumers that you have to know that it makes no sense. It's an upside down divide and conquer strategy. But like you said, I agree 100%. We're dealing with a minority. The other side is the minority, the liberal left, the socialist Democrats. They're the minority. They just have the loudest voice.
Did you see that tweet from Greta Turdberger?
What was that about?
Oh.
I did. I thought her machinery went rogue. She's no longer under evil handlers.
Which
or
makes me
somebody
wonder if
hacked
Soros
in.
has been arrested, which we know he has been.
Yeah.
So
of course.
now she's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and no money.
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
amazing how you can change your opinion when you run out of money.
Oh, yes. And a lot of them will soon. Also, it's finally coming out what we discussed a long time ago about Gaddafi's gold that disappeared.
Sure.
They stole the gold. That was why they went in there, the gold and the weapons to arm ISIS.
Yeah.
You know, and finally I saw today, this morning, I saw my first article of somebody saying, where's Gaddafi's gold? And in my opinion, you know, they right after they went and pillaged Haiti under the guise of philanthropy and stole all the children and stuff, suddenly they found gold on Haiti.
Yeah.
Well, hello. That was...
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I mean, I think we seized that by now. But I knew a long time ago that Gaddafi's family was suing the United States and a bunch of other countries to find out where that gold was. So, you know, they took down. It was so sad because you look back and they took out two people, Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, who actually were not enemies of America. Right. They had nothing for America. Mm-hmm. And, you know, actually Saddam Hussein kept the peace in the Middle East to a certain extent.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm still in contact with Gaddafi's daughter, Aisha. I've been in contact with her for the last 5 years.
Right.
Done work with her.
Right.
But yes, he was way ahead of his time, wasn't he? He was trying to get a gold-backed currency, and of course the deep state and the cabal didn't want that to happen.
And he spoke at the United Nations and said that they were going to plan a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part. People don't believe me, and I brought it up of Gaddafi. And I remember everyone, even at the time, being like, he's a lunatic. But he was saying they're going to make a pandemic, and they're going to make a virus, and they're going to make a vaccine, and that's going to be how they depopulate. And the man said this. And then Hillary laughed with glee. We came, we saw, we killed him. For what? The guy was no longer a threat, and he settled the Lockerbie thing also.
Sure.
So, and then that came out last week.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Maddie McCann's parents are back on the front page. Like,
yes. Oh, I know.
What is going on?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then, you know, a lot of people are running the video of that Trump took at the H.W. Bush funeral with the letters and all of that. Now, most people never saw it. And one of the ways that I red-pilled my parents was about 2.5 years ago. I played that for them. And I go, how come we never heard about this? And it's the one thing that you can't explain.
Yeah.
That's such a big thing.
Yes.
That it would have been front page news.
Yeah.
But no, but they hid it. Yeah. So that's another sign that people have been playing along. Also, I hear that last week they say the Pope's stepping down. Well, the Pope's been gone for
Yeah.
for quite a while.
9 months. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a CGI, which a lot of them might be. And then,
Yeah.
we're getting Dan Scavino dropping things that looks like it might be a courtroom of some sort, very obscure pictures. And, Merkel also stepping down, and that's happening. Brexit, I guess, happened. It's amazing to me that people still don't get that the EU is basically the New World Order.
Correct.
That
Exactly
was their plan.
Yeah.
How do people not understand that?
Because of the mainstream media and the way it's been portrayed, and they're completely brainwashed. And in England and in Europe, they're so addicted to television. When you ask people who are not addicted to television, they can see it very clearly. But those that are absolutely programmed into the system, and all the subliminal stuff that's going on all of the time,
right?
I turn my television on occasionally to watch sport. And the adverts are contaminated. The sport is contaminated. It's everything.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the next level is understanding the satanic side of it.
Yeah.
And, that's where there'll be some pushback, but not really, because it's undeniable. I mean, and also it's not as much, people need to start, we'll have to start understanding it's not as much about pedophilia as it is about satanic ritual abuse, which is more horrific. Both are horrific, but it's another level of evil. And also, like, stealing the life force is a big part of it. And all this stuff we've been talking about for 4 years will be quite eye-opening. I think a lot of people will turn back to God, as a lot of people that have been following our movement. I laugh so hard when they're like, oh, these people, they're this and that. I think it's all about God.
Yeah.
All about God and saving the children. And they've gone so far out of their way to say that the 17 board is somehow the evil. To me, it's been such a positive experience.
Yeah.
For most people I know, once you're exposed to the truth, you can't not see it. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. And you get, you and me are both the same. We've got the same level of peace.
Right. I know.
You don't get if you're on the other side. They're in absolute turmoil. They're living in fear. They're panicking like crazy. They don't know what the hell's going to happen next. And we're sitting back and just enjoying the show.
Right. Well, that's the good thing about me and you, especially, is that I think people like watching us together is because we've both never, ever, ever for 1 second allowed our faith to lapse, or not given the big picture in terms of, it's all working out. It is. And it was well planned. And that's why Trump seems so calm. This phone call he had yesterday that the Washington Post blew up is like him. They keep saying treason, submission. He's trying to steal it. And every time I see somebody say this, I say they're guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to prison.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm looking forward. I hope that it's true that we will get a media blackout and we'll get the emergency alert system. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do have to say that the media needs to be held accountable. Something has to be done. These people cannot get away with what they've done. And I think the biggest crime against humanity that's going to reveal itself is the COVID.
Yeah.
COVID con.
Yeah.
What a crime against humanity. It is so above and beyond. And don't forget, Hitler's thing was doing it for your health too.
Sure, exactly. That's one thing that's amazed me on this journey with the mask wearing, is the fact that if anybody who understands anything about Auschwitz,
right,
and we've not learned from history, and it just shows how ignorant the people have become, that they have not learned a thing from history. I did my research on the word person, because you're a woman, I'm a man.
Right.
That's fine, but you're not a person, I'm not a person. A person is a mask wearer.
Right.
The word person is taken from the Latin for mask wearer. So they've contaminated even our language.
Right. Oh, God, yes, they've contaminated our language. Oh, I don't know if you saw, they swore in the new Congress, and he said at the end, amen and a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that doesn't just say satanic.
Exactly. So
amen is now a
amen.
gender thing.
Yeah, there's this
on the floor of Congress.
Yeah, but this is where I smile, and you probably will as well, because Trump is totally in control, and it's almost like he's taking the piss out of them now and letting them, you know, you'll probably find it was a clone that was programmed to do that, to expose how stupid they are, because there's things that are happening now that you could not make up. You go, really? Are you that stupid? And it's like even who's the woman that's supposed to be the vice president to Biden?
Oh God, Kamala Harris not giving
Kamala
up.
Harris. Yeah, she's not giving up her seat in the Senate, is she?
No, she's not. And that should have happened already. No, they know. And they took down all the bleachers that they were putting up for Biden's inauguration and then say it's about COVID. Nothing is about COVID. Nothing's ever been about COVID.
Sure.
There's plenty of proof. And at this point, it's it's everyone's call for themselves. But people have had it. This is I'm looking forward to, because I truly believe that it was a coordinated effort about the election, but also to destroy the world's economy, to force us into the Great Reset.
Sure.
Therefore, everyone's involved at the
Sure.
top.
Yeah.
But as you and I know, again, the World Health Organization, the UN, CFR, the Royal, they're all part of the cabal. This planned. And it was planned in 2010 in Operation Lockstep and played out in Event 201 and told to us in Event 2030 or Agenda 2030. And now I'm just so happy that it's been decimated. Their plan is over.
Exactly.
It's over. And finally, they got to the people in Switzerland, because, I've been saying the way that we've framed Switzerland all this time is such a psyop in itself.
Yeah.
That you're always told the Swiss are the neutral.
Yeah.
Where
Far
all
from it.
roads lead back there.
Yeah, far from it.
Yeah. So this is going to be one of those great weeks where you and I just every day are like, wow, great.
Yeah. Now, I'm still waiting to get either Ellen Wood on or General Flynn on a Zoom conversation with
I'm
either
sure you will.
Yeah, with you or with Anne. Anne
Yeah.
said that he's agreed to come on. We're just waiting to see when he's free.
But what a hero. I mean, this is what we needed. We needed that. So he built up his voice, built up, and then started just dropping Epstein Island bombs left and right. But it's time. It's time. These people, as you've noticed, a lot of the celebrity usual suspects have been silenced.
Yeah.
A few haven't. Some have been publicly humiliated to a certain extent, like Alec Baldwin and his wife.
Yeah.
But the celebrities have been relatively silent. So that's good news in my mind. And, I'm so ready for people to feel, free. Most people don't even know that they're slaves, but to feel free from the overriding fear and panic and everything, not just during the COVID, but that we've been going through all these years. Every time they pull out the rug in the financial markets, because it's them, the same people.
Sure.
And like we said from the very start, this COVID, the biggest deaths for real are going to be suicide and overdose, and people who didn't get treatment that should have. And crimes against humanity is the bottom line.
Sure. It's very interesting too. In the United Kingdom, they've got a massive lockdown because of the new COVID strain out of Africa. Well, out of South Africa. South Africa's not actually heard anything about this strain at all. Knows nothing about it.
Right. Right. And they're starting here, too, saying that it's come to America. Well, guess what? The original COVID strain was never isolated either.
Correct.
So as far as most honest scientists, these psychos, these Luciferian upside down people, they say, trust the science. Which science? The one that told us that our planet was going to be gone by 2020?
Yeah.
Or, because they got together. You and I know this, but they got together a long time ago. The what are they called? The something of Rome. The group committee, like what I can't remember what they're called. The something Council of Rome or something. And Rockefeller, all the same usual Bilderberg types, Davos types. And they decided that the two things that they could use was climate change and a pandemic.
Yep.
And here we are.
Yep.
Here we are.
Right. And
And it's so amazing that all the information is out there if one wants to look for it.
yeah,
So, anytime somebody now is like, show me the proof, I say, go find it yourself.
exactly right.
I've shown the proof.
Yeah,
I've done enough, but everyone needs to find it themselves. You can't make up something this giant. It's so big.
sure,
But it's so exciting to watch them finally get taken down.
sure.
That's the best part, because you and I know that the evil is lurked out there for way too long.
Yeah. It's very interesting that when they start to attack you, and I've been attacked on a regular basis,
I
and
know.
I expect that when you put yourself out there, I'm quite prepared to be attacked. And I got attacked by a friend the other day, and he's well, I don't believe you've got 7 million followers. I said, well, it doesn't really matter if you do or don't. It doesn't make any difference to me. Because it doesn't matter whether I've got 70 followers, 7,000, 7 million. Makes no difference.
Right.
But
I always say you don't even care. You
no,
started doing this because you were interested and it was fun and you have a great personality, but who cares? Yeah.
so
I know you don't
we
care.
took him to Google and we showed him the facts that there's 8 billion websites worldwide, and we're in the top 35,000,
Right.
and with over 100 million views.
I know.
So the fact we've only got 7 million followers is not bad.
No,
And he was like, "Yeah, but there's no comments. There's no comments." I said, "Well, we
you
stopped.
don't allow comments anymore, right?
No, we don't allow comments because we got infiltrated
Right.
by trolls. And
Yeah.
genuine people put nice comments, but
Right. I
if it
know.
hasn't got a face picture and it's got a really random name, then you
Right.
know for a fact that it's a troll and they're just out there. And we decided we didn't want to play that game. We wanted to just get the truth out,
Right.
and we'll continue to do that.
Right.
And he's gone,
I
but you've
don't-
got to
I'm
allow
glad
people to
you're-
answer. I've gone, they can send us an email.
No, because I just started with your help, the MEL K show on BitChute, and the
Yes.
comments are so nice.
Yeah,
It really is inspiring, the comments. But for me too, I don't. What's to troll? You know what I mean? Like, why? It's never. We're just putting out information that we get. You and I are pretty thorough on who we speak to, and check with each other and all of our gang. But you've put together a really good group of real, true, honest, compassionate, open-minded people that all are kind of getting together. And when I see who's involved through your web of people, these are really good people that really want the truth out, but also are like love God and family and country, and that's what it's about. And anyone that's coming to attack is coming to attack out of fear, not out of being honest, an honest debate. There's nothing to debate.
no, you're bang on right. Everybody in our group has actually reset their
I
own
know.
moral compass, so
Right.
they're all in sync.
Right. Right. And that's what we need. The more the merrier, because we're pulling it together. Every time I talk to you or I talk to Alpa, or Nick or any of these people that we have in our loop of people we talk to. And these are people that are truth seekers. They're people
Sure.
that want answers. They want to share the truth because the truth is out there and it's been hidden. And like you said, there's too many people that isn't the New York Times now run by the guy who hid the pedophilia scandal with Jimmy Savile?
Yep.
So it's just like, if you're still reading the New York Times and you don't know that, then it's easy to find out that
Just
we're
for-
dealing with a media that is covering up horrible stuff and being rewarded for it.
I actually looked at an English newspaper today, and there was absolutely nothing of value in there. Nothing at all
No.
of value. It was all like pathetic stories, telltale stories, and pathetic lies. There was nothing of any value there.
No,
And then
every
you-
day.
Then you
Every
have to
day.
think, why do we need all these news channels? Why do we need all of this in the new world we're moving into? We'll share information like I can ask you what's happening in New York or whether you're down
Right.
wherever you are, and the same here. We can communicate with each other, but we don't need this pipeline of absolute garbage.
It's so disgusting. I can't watch it at all. But like we've discussed, like, thank God you're building a network and I'm part of it. But I have to say, like, that's going to be the future, is picking and choosing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame what happened with YouTube in terms of that it was easy,
Mhm.
you know, to find everyone and this and that. But at the same time, the effort that's been put in by people like you, but also lots of other YouTube people, X22, Truth
Yeah.
Nerds, Polly, everyone's had to kind of find their way to survive. And
Yeah.
that's kind of been interesting to watch too.
Yeah.
Because at first, people that got taken down, like Red Pill and True Channel and a lot of
Mhm.
people like that, they were, I think, devastated. You
Sure.
know, at first they had built this big following. They do their research. They work their 17 hours a day, whatever. YouTube pulls it. For people like me and you, it's more like, because I was doing it with Kirsten, but with people like us, it's kind of like, okay, well, we'll rebuild. But for these guys, it was their whole life.
Sure.
You know, and also like the guy from We Are Change, Nick, Jason Burmis.
Yes.
These people, it was their whole lives.
Sure.
They were making their living, and they took away their livelihood. I know there's a big lawsuit coming from the 20 people or so, including you, that got purged right when the Hunter Biden laptop came out.
Sure.
But it's been interesting and kind of a pleasure to watch people resurrect and be forced to build to the next level and see where people are popping up. And you know, it's as much a tale of resilience as anything else. A lot of people, you know, I'm sure felt so defeated that they were like, forget it. But then, you know, the real heroes, the real truth warriors popped up elsewhere. Yeah. And just kept going and weren't crying over losing their, you know, 250,000 subscribers like you did. But we're trying to be like, okay, well, they're not going to stop me, because it's bigger than that. It's been bigger than that.
And we know from the response, the figure, the subscribers and the followers is irrelevant. It's whether the message is getting out to the right people.
Exactly.
And if it's delivered in the right spirit, then people will forward that message on. Well, it doesn't need to come from me. It can be from somebody that gets it from me and they can hand it on.
Right.
And I noticed my own ego starting to get boosted by the numbers, and I've had to turn off that like very much like when I started reading the comments that were very complimentary, and you suddenly feel your chest come out.
Right.
And then you get one that slaps you in the face and you feel really down on yourself.
Right.
That's why I stopped
reading my comments on Twitter. I don't even care. I just say what I want to say.
I had somebody send me a message because I've been told I work for the CIA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which
you couldn't be more the opposite. If anyone knew what the CIA really was, they'd know that.
And then I got told at the weekend I was a shill, whatever one of those is. No idea what one is. Not a clue. And I haven't even bothered to put it into DuckDuckGo or Google to see what it is.
A lot of the attacks on you, though, have been based on jealousy, from what I see, and for no reason. Because to me, you have no ego. I've been hanging out with you for a long time. Exactly. I can't wait every Monday. I'm super excited because you give, you know, you and I both refuse to be taken down or let down or let people down. You know, I think that there's a real positive tone in the way you deliver the truth, and even when you're on a serious side of something, it's still very palatable. You know, some of these people force the truth at you and the way they tell it, and it's disturbing, but you know, the way it's all disturbing, but the way that it's delivered, like you said, is makes a difference.
Well, you're exactly the same, and I think the biggest thing that connects with our audience is the fact that you've known Trump personally on a personal level, and that counts for so much. When you hear these words about how bad he is and what have you, you just go, you're not talking about the right man. And that goes with the same with when I met bin Laden and his family, one of the loveliest men you'll ever meet. And yet the mainstream media portrayed him as an evil man. He was the
boogeyman.
Yeah.
He was the boogeyman, just like Trump, right?
Exactly. And that tells you so much about, and I had over the New Year period, I had 5 people send me videos that they've taken from their window with the television showing a firework display celebrating New Year and the actual tower in the background with absolutely nothing going on. So all CGI.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's
Isn't it
incredible.
incredible
Yeah,
how fooled people have been? How,
yeah,
but showing something like, I saw that too, but showing something like that is going to prove important later, because
yeah.
then people will have to believe. The other thing like that is that people are very skeptical about what they're seeing in terms of who's out there, who's talking, who's tweeting. These probably aren't the people. Like if
Sure.
Hillary Clinton put out some tweet, it's not her
No,
anymore. It's
nothing
just
like
not.
that. It's the
Right.
same. It's
So,
the same with the Queen. They did the
right.
spoof video on Channel 4 just as a bit of fun
I
to
know.
distract the brain. So when they did the CGI one that looked sort of half real, people went, "Oh, that's
Right.
fine." This is all about
Right.
programming. Now, for
Right.
anybody with an ounce of common sense,
Right.
prior to this, before the Queen was removed, let's put it that way, she would,
Right.
if she was in Windsor, you'd see her come out of Windsor Castle in the car. If she was in
Right.
Balmoral, she'd come out of Balmoral in the car. You'd see her in
Right.
the grounds. Nobody has seen her. Now, it's very easy to say,
No.
"Oh, I saw her on the telly." No, I'm not talking about the telly, because that could be a clone,
Right.
it could be CGI, it could be a body double. I'm talking about, have
Right.
you seen anything in real life? And not one person has stepped forward yet.
No.
Somebody said to me, "Oh, she's up at Balmoral." It took me 2 minutes to make a phone call to the stables there to find that nobody's seen her this year.
Right. Well,
And
it's also the same here. We haven't seen Adam Schiff. We haven't seen a lot of these people in person because of the COVID, or Adler. A lot of the worst of the worst criminals in our government have not been seen in person. So that's another thing. The same thing with that. I put up that video of what happened on Channel 4 because I thought it was funny, and B, I thought, people have to see how easy it is.
Yeah.
And the CGI isn't even that good. But like every time I see Obama, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, you could do me a
Right.
favor when you go down to see Anne. You could just pop down to Gitmo and do a head count for me.
I know. Well, now I think it's full and they're going to Greenland, and some lucky folks get to go to, I guess, Antarctica.
Exactly. Isn't it amazing how they've got two of them up there, haven't they? Two big prisons
Yeah.
up by the North Pole.
Yeah.
Very, very
And people still also don't seem to get that it's an alliance of multiple countries.
yes.
I see a lot, the worst part for me about a lot of this is that the Democratic Party and these deep state operatives went out of their way to try to create another rift between Russia and America that wasn't real.
Yeah.
And the more we see, just this week, we found out that the bounties that were put on the heads of soldiers was really by the CCP.
Correct.
Not by Russia. So basically everything that they've said for the last 3.5 years about Russia has really been the CCP and them deflecting. But how sad, after we worked so hard to end that Cold War, that they restarted the Russian, whole Russian thing for their own, to protect themselves.
Sure.
Because like I say to everyone, the one that you could say what you want about Putin, the one thing Putin cares about is the Russians.
Yeah, exactly right.
As he's supposed to.
Yeah.
Where we have all these other world leaders pretending to care about the world, where, they really want this global citizen thing. Well, it backfired, and now it's going to be humanity.
Sure.
It's just going to be brothers and sisters in humanity that all won against this invisible empire, which is
Sure.
really what it is. And
Exactly.
I think that this week's going to be one of those weeks we've been waiting.
Isn't it just?
I get to see you 3 times.
It's
Yeah.
very, very exciting.
Well, maybe Ann and I'll touch base with you when we're together, just for fun.
That would be absolutely brilliant. Just get 15 minutes with the two of you. That sounds awful, doesn't
We
it?
will.
That sounds naughty.
Yeah. Scratch that.
Exactly. So,
The worst part is if we have 15 minutes with the two of us, we
Oh.
would just be babbling the whole time. So, hey.
look, it's 15 minutes of fun and truth, and this is where
I know.
this is what the people are loving out there is the fact that we've got people on the right frequency that understand they've moved out of the third dimension into the
Right.
fifth dimension and above, and can see what's going on with complete clarity. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's always beautiful to talk to you every Monday. It sets up
You
my
do.
week. Even though I was a bit
Me too.
unfaithful this Monday, I had a call before you
I can't believe it.
at 6 o'clock this
How
morning.
will I ever?
But
No, it's my
it was
favorite.
Q. It was Q.
Well, that's all that matters. Then.
Exactly.
We have to be loyal to the big guy.
Exactly right. So
Like you just said the truest of the truth, which is clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity and confidence in what we're doing and in our work and in our research, and also the vibe, the where we are in terms of our vibration and what we're putting out there matters. Words matter, and if we're speaking the truth, then I have no fear, and we do. So
sure. All right, Mel. We're lovely.
I'll see you again this week. And Ann and I will figure out how to get in touch with you when we're together to say hi.
Definitely. We'll see you on Wednesday and on Friday.
Yeah.
And in between.
Oh, yay. Well, nothing better than seeing you. You start my week the best. And I love your sunshine. You always make me so happy.
Good. You do me so too. Really, really good.
And God wins. And we have not only been saying God wins the whole time, but we're pretty sure he already won. Right? No,
we're not pretty sure. We know he's won.
Positive. I know. Have a great one. Hang in there.
You too, sweetie. Lots of love.
Bye, everyone.